everyone and welcome back to Stitches Past 5. My name is Vera and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this cute little froggy who actually has this swing that he can swing on all day long. This is like an Amigurumi style, just a little cute plushie. It is pretty easy to make. All you need to know how to do are single crochets, increases, decreases, and chains, and magic loop. I'm gonna show you how to make this froggy, but you do need to know your single crochets, increases, decreases, I'll quickly go over, but mainly your single crochets and your chains, you do need to know ahead of this video. So if you're not aware of how to do a single crochet or how to chain, just go ahead and watch some other videos, teach yourself that, familiarize yourself with that, and then you're good to go. So quickly, for the materials that you'll need. For the yarn, you can use literally any yarn. I choose to use this one, the Drops Cotton Light. I like this yarn for Amigurumi. Now this yarn does like split a little bit, so you might see that happening as I make it now. If that's something that bothers you, then choose a different yarn. I go with this light green yarn just because I think it's really cute, but I mean, you can make it whatever color you want. If you want a traditional frog, then make it green. If not, go for any yarn of your choice. It can be cotton, it can be acrylic, whatever you have lying around will do the job. Then you need a contrast color just for the swing. I have this scrap of gray yarn lying around that I'm gonna use. For this froggy, I used a brown swing, so this one's gonna have a gray swing. Whatever you have lying around, maybe it's a scrap, maybe it's another ball, you can use that. Then you'll need some filling. I use polyfill. This you can buy at any craft shop, but you can also use anything that you have lying around. Even if you have an old t-shirt or something else, you can cut it up and put it in your frog. You really don't need a lot because it is a pretty small, a small amigurumi. Then I like using a stitch marker to mark the beginning of my rounds. It looks like this. You can open them. I recommend you use one that you can open just because that will make your life easier. You'll need a pair of scissors and also a needle to do some sewing right at the end. I use a 3.5mm crochet hook. This is a half millimeter sized down from what is recommended on the yarn. And that's what I usually do when I make amigurumi. I size down half a needle size and that works really well for me. And then lastly, you'll need some safety eyes. Of course, this is optional. I like using safety eyes because I think they're really cute on the little eyes of the frog. I got these off of Amazon, but if you don't have safety eyes, you can also just sew in the eyes afterwards, similarly to what you're gonna do with the mouth. Okay, so before we start, I'm gonna talk you through every single round of making the frog. The frog is made as a round ball first, and then you make the feet and the arms and the eyes. I'm gonna talk you through how to make everything, and I'm gonna show you as I do it. So I've put everything else aside except for my crochet hook, then my yarn, of course, and my stitch marker to mark the beginning of my round. So to start off with, you're gonna make a magic loop. I'm right-handed, so I use my crochet hook in my right hand. I do think if you're left-handed, most people still crochet with their right hand. And if not, then I suggest that you take a video of this and then flip it, because then it'll all be like the other way around if you're having trouble with that. Okay, so I have the end of my yarn here and I'm gonna wrap it around my 2 fingers to make a magic loop. Into that magic loop, I'm gonna do 6 single crochets. So this is the end of my yarn, like kind of over my pointer here. I'm gonna go under that loop, take the other one through, pull it through, and then single crochet with the yarn that's coming out of the ball. Now, of course, you've probably done a magic loop before. If not, then that's how you do it. You can always replay it. But if you have your own way of doing it, then go ahead and use that way. Now, this one is my like slip stitch, kind of my beginning knot. I'm not gonna count this as my single crochet. I'm gonna do 6 single crochet from here So treat magic loop as your stitch that you're single crocheting into and put 6 single crochets into the loop. Then you'll end up with something like this. So to know how many you have, just simply count the little V's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Then you're gonna close the magic loop. So pull at your short end and it should pull it all together. Just like this. Make sure that's nice and tight. Okay. Then slip stitch into your first single crochet from the row. I always like to count again so I know which one to go into, because sometimes the knot that you do at the beginning looks like a single crochet. So I'm just gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and go ahead and do a slip stitch into that 6th single crochet. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm good to go. Now you should have a tiny little circle that looks like this. The next round you're going to increase into all the stitches. So my next one, this is the one I've slip stitched into. So my next one is actually this one. I'm going to put 2 single crochets in here. But I'm going to do the first one first and then put my stitch marker in there to mark the beginning of the row. Okay, so I have to put another one here. And then I'm going to go around and do 2 single crochets into each stitch. I should then end up with 12 single crochets in that row. So go ahead and do that. I'll speed mine up a little bit. And then I'll meet you once you finish that. Okay, so I finished my round. I know that because the next one I would go into is the one where the stitch marker is in. I've double counted and I do have 12 stitches in this round. So I'm going to take out my stitch marker and then I can start the next round, which is do 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then an increase into the next one. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and so on. Alternate that all the way around. And then you should have 18 stitches. So I've done my first one, which is just a singular single crochet. Insert my stitch marker, and then for the next one I have to do an increase into this one. Okay, my next one is another single crochet, and then an increase. And I'm going to do that the whole way around. So I'll meet you at the start again, and then I'll show you what to do for the next round. Okay, again, I finished my round. I have 18 stitches in this round. If you ever have a stitch number that's not accurate, you can either undo the round and count, or you can cheat a little bit and just put like an extra increase into the next one instead of a single crochet. Or alternatively, if you have too many, just do a single crochet in that one. I don't recommend you do this too often because then your circle will get a bit wonky. But if it just happens one time, that's how I kind of like to fix my miscounting if it ever happens. Now for the next round, we're gonna do 2 single crochets into the next 2 stitches. Or I should say 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, and then an increase. So single crochet, increase, and that all the way around. Then you should have 24 stitches by the end of that round. Again, I'm gonna take out my stitch marker and then place a single crochet, to which then my stitch marker goes back into, so I know where to end my next round. So I've done 2 single crochets, so this is going to be my increase, which means 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And I'm ending the round with a increase, so 2 single crochets into the last stitch of the round. Quickly count my stitches. 24, that looks good. In the next round, you're going to do a single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, and then you're going to do an increase. So 1, 2, 3 single, increase, 1, 2, 3 single, increase. Okay. You can start to see a pattern here, right? Like we're always kind of increasing 1 more single crochet between the increases, and that's essentially how you crochet any like circle. Of course, we're gonna make this into a sphere, but the sphere actually starts the exact same way as a circle does. So let's do this round. I'll meet you at the end, and then you should have 30 stitches in that round. Okie dokie. Now I have 30 stitches in the round, and now this is the point where I stop doing the increases. So essentially, this is the point where it's no longer gonna be like a flat circle. It's already like curving up a tiny little bit. So from here on, I'm just gonna go straight up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna single crochet 1 into each of the stitches around, so no increases anymore this round. And I'm gonna do that for 2 rounds in total. So that'll give me 30 around once and 30 around twice. And I'm gonna do that and then probably meet you there, because this one is, or the next 2 rounds I guess, are pretty mindless. I will still put my stitch marker just because it's important that I don't do this too far or too few by guessing. So I'm always gonna place a stitch marker at the beginning of the round like this. And then I'm just gonna go around really like quickly, or I guess pretty mindless, and just put a single crochet into each of the stitches. So do 2 rounds like that, and then I'll meet you there. Alright, so I'm at the end of my 2 rounds of just straight single crochets, and now you can really see that a sphere is forming, right? The next round is going to be another increasing round, but we're not going to do that many increases because this is the part where like the Froggy gets like his chubby form. So we're going to do 9 single crochets and then do an increase into the 10th stitch. You should still have 30 stitches all the way around, so that means you're increasing 3 throughout the whole round. So I'm gonna do 9 of those into the first one. Of course, as always, place my stitch marker. And then do an increase into the 10th one. Increase meaning 2 single crochets into the same stitch, just like before. I'm gonna repeat that 2 more times, and then I'll be right back at the beginning of my round. Okay, that's me right at the beginning, or at the end of my round, at the beginning of my next round. The next round is going to be another increasing round. This one is irregular increases. This is so the increases aren't all on top of each other. As an overview, the round is 4 single crochets into the next 4 stitches, then an increase, then 10 single crochets, then an increase, and then 5 single crochets. This is another 3 increases, but like offset from the other three that we just did. And then you'll have 36 stitches in that round. So first we do 4. Here's my first one. This one gets the stitch marker. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So then an increase. Then we do 10 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then do an increase into the 11th stitch. Okay, and then do 5 single crochets into the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do an increase. So that's 2 into the same one, and then single crochet until the end. Okay, the next round is another round of full single crochets all the way around. Okay, once you've completed the round of just single crochets all the way around, now it's time to start doing the decreases. The first round is going to be 3 single crochets and then a decrease. I'll show you how to do the decrease, or how I like doing my decreases when I make amigurumi. So 3 single crochets. The first one, as always, gets the stitch marker. 2, 3. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the decrease. So to do my decreases, I like doing it this way, where I go in as if I were to crochet normally, except I only go in through the front loop, keep that on my hook, and then do that the same thing with the next loop right here. So now I'm basically taking 2 stitches at the same time. I have 3 loops on my needle. Then I'm gonna yarn over, pull it through the first 2 as if it were like just 1 stitch, and then pull it through both just as you would with your regular single crochet. I like this decrease because it's pretty invisible, like you can't really tell that 2 stitches have been stitched together here, because I find that when you just skip a stitch, which is another decrease method in crochet, then you do get like a bit of a hole, which is avoided with this method. Okay, so I'm going to do that the whole way around, 3 single crochets and then a decrease. And for this row you do need to count because you can't really see the decreases happening. Okay, so I've made it to the end of my single crochet decrease round. Because you have 36 stitches, one will be left over at the end, just single crochet as per normal into that. If you don't have one left over at the end, don't even worry about it, just continue as you would. Okay, the next one is a single crochet into the next 2 stitches and then do a decrease with the next 2 stitches. So you can tell that this is like a pretty quick decreasing method because the bottom of the frog is actually really flat. Where normally to make like a perfect sphere, you would kind of mirror whatever you did at the beginning. This one is not the perfect sphere, so it does decrease quicker than it increased. Okay, here's my first one at the beginning of the round, one more, and then the next 2 together, and that all the way around. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning of my round. The next round is gonna be following the pattern, so 1 single crochet into the next stitch and then a decrease. Okay, so now you're left with this pretty small hole already. I try to make sure that the tail is in there already. Now you can either stuff it now or do another round of decreasing. So still to go, we have 1 more round of decreases. So if you're someone who prefers to stuff it now, do that now. If you're someone who prefers to stuff it in like a tiny hole, then do that after the next round. I'm gonna stuff mine now and then fill it up after the next round. So here I have my polyfill, like I mentioned at the beginning. You can really use like anything. If you are using like an old t-shirt or old fabric, I actually recommend that you cut it into small pieces. It'll just give your frog a nicer shape afterwards. With this store-bought fill, that's not really an issue because it's like made for filling amigurumi or plushies or I don't know, toys, whatever people make. And okay, that's probably good for me now because I do still want to be able to like crochet the next round without it getting stuck in all the stuffing. So this can go to the side for now. The next round is gonna be all decreases. So that means you don't do any single crochets into like 1 stitch, but you decrease all stitches. So you take the next 2 stitches and decrease them, and then you do another decrease after that. So here's my first decrease, and that's also the one where I put in my stitch marker. And then I'm gonna work that way the whole way around. Okay, so here's my last decrease that I'm fighting a little bit here with the stuffing as well. Okay, and now I'm gonna pull this along a little bit so I don't lose it. I'm gonna take out my stitch marker and I'm gonna feel if I want more stuffing. I want like a little bit more stuffing in there. And now I think my opening is already pretty small, but I'm gonna try to stuff that in there as good as I can. I just kind of like the frog be like nice and plump. Like I think it's so cute when it's a little chubbier. Okay, perfect. Now I'm filling in there. I have my loop and I have my yarn, which I'm gonna actually cut now. So I'm gonna leave a pretty generous amount just to be safe. pull that through your loop just to finish off. Pull that nice and tight. And now, obviously you still have a hole. You're gonna pull that closed with your needle. So I'm gonna go on and take my sewing needle. This can go to the side for now. And the way I like to close the hole, if you have your own methods, like by all means go use that. But the way I do it, I go through each of the outer loops of the stitches, just like that. Just loosely first. And once my yarn is all the way through into the last stitch, I shut it. I pull it shut. Now the stuffing is coming out a bit. I'm just going to give that a little tuck in there. Pull my yarn shut and then sew that closed so it doesn't go anywhere. Perfect. I like to go through my amigurumi, like through the body a few times to really like close it off. But then I like to come back through the hole and avoid any bulging that you create through that. If you have like a really awkward corner, like say if I have this, what I can do is put my yarn through here, bring it out here, go through another loop, and then tighten it, because that way you're kind of like shaping it a little bit. For this pattern, we are not going to shape the ball at all, because it is just the cute little frog. And now we already have his body, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that one right where it comes out. Oh, it's already so like squishy and fun. I guess this could be like a really cute stress ball as well. Okay, I'm gonna put the body aside. I don't need the filling anymore either. So the body can chill here for now. And now I am going to go on and make all my like accessories, or like all the extremities, I should probably call them. The first one are the eyes. Now, mind you, most of these extremities are made really, really quickly, and you will need 2 of each. So for the eyes, you're gonna do another magic loop. So same method as before, wrapping your yarn around, pulling the yarn through, and creating a slip stitch. And then you're gonna chain 2, so not a single crochet this time, but a chain 1, 2, like that. And then you're gonna do 6 half double crochets into the magic loop. So half double crochet is yarn over, and then pull it through and through all 3 loops, yarn over, pull it through all 3, and so on and so forth. So essentially a half double crochet is the same thing as a single crochet, except you do this motion at the beginning. That's probably a better way to describe it. I'm gonna place 6 of those into my magic circle, and the first 2 chains count as 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 1 more. 6. Okay. Then I'm gonna cut a string pretty generously, because I'm gonna use that to sew it on right here. I'm gonna slip stitch that through the magic loop before I close it. So as you imagine you're doing a single crochet, pull your yarn through, but instead of grasping it again from above, you're gonna pull it through the loop right away. And then pull that nice and tight, and that's your fastened off. Now you can close your magic circle. So pull on the end that you wrapped around your fingers. There we go, and there's your first eye. It's gonna be like a cute little semicircle. We're gonna do another one of those. So magic loop, slip stitch, then 2 chains that count as your first half double crochet, and then 5 more half double crochets in there, 6 in total, including the first 2 chains, which count as 1. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, perfect. Now cut your yarn, or do your fastening on off first, it really doesn't matter. And then pull it through to fasten off. Pull that nice and tight, and then close your magic loop by pulling the short end. Mine's a little twisted here. Ta-da, there we go. Pull that nice and tight. And there we go, we have our second eye. We have 2 cute little eyes, and the next thing I'm gonna do is actually already put the safety eyes in there. You can put them in after you've sewn it on, I just find it easier to do it now. So, out of my many safety eyes, I'm gonna pick a size that I like. Perfect. And then I'm gonna go through the center. So this is the cute little eye that I just created. I'm gonna go through the center of that. It might be a bit hard to get it through. There we go. So I'm gonna go through the center of my magic loop, put the eye on, and then put the back. Put the back on there so it doesn't go anywhere. If you're sewing the eye on, this is, you can, take your yarn and needle now and sew on the eye into the inside of the green outing. So here's my first froggy eye. It's already looking so cute. Gonna do that same thing with the second one. Okay, put the back on there. Perfect. So now I have my 2 cute little eyes, which I'm gonna sew on in a second. I like just making all the extremities first and then sewing them on all together. Okay, next are the legs. For the legs, I'm gonna create a slip stitch, and then I'm gonna do 12 single crochets. Then I'm gonna take the 6th chain from my hook, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and into that I'm gonna do a slip stitch. Slip stitch means that it starts as if you're single crocheting, but instead of yarning over again, you're gonna pull that same loop right through the first loop on your needle, on your hook. Then I'm gonna slip stitch into the next one, and do that all the way until the beginning of the leg. There we go. I'm gonna cut my yarn pretty generously again, I'll need it for sewing, and pull it through one last time. So there's my first leg. Super cute. I'm gonna make another one, because of course my little froggy needs 2 legs. So same thing. Starting your chain, chaining 12, and then into the 6th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna place a slip stitch, pulling the loop all the way through, and then working my way up to the beginning of the leg, all in slip stitches into each of the chains. Cut my yarn, whoops, and then fasten off by pulling the yarn through the loop. There we go. Now I have 2 little froggy legs to go with my 2 little froggy eyes. Now I just need 2 little arms. The arms are super simple. All you do is chain 9. So again, starting my chain with a slip knot and placing 9 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. Fasten that off, pull through, and now we're just missing 1 more arm. Nine chains, go. Cut my yarn and pull that through. Okay, so we have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes. Whoops. I am gonna go ahead and sew those on first, and then we'll make our swing. So to sew on your extremities, I guess, take your ball and determine which is the top and which is the bottom. Now, I like using the top where I started just because I think increases look nicer overall than the decreases at the bottom. If you're a fan of how this looks, by all means use this as the top. I use this as the top, and that was also intended in this pattern because as you can see, it kind of like bulges out here, and his stomach, which is like further down on his body, is kind of the fattest part. And I think that's so cute. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start with the eyes. So put or thread your yarn, and the eyes, I'm gonna start with the inside of the eye at around about like in the middle line, and then up 1 stitch, and I'm gonna put the inside of my eye between the 2nd and 3rd row, so somewhere around here. And then I'm gonna sew that on. Sewing on all these little things is always a little bit finicky. It is kind of like my least favorite part, and I think most people's least favorite part about making amigurumi, but I guess it's just part of it. Okay, now I like to leave it at that. I just go through a few times. I would say it depends who you're making this for, right? Like I'm making this one and it's not gonna go to a child. It's not gonna go to someone who's gonna be playing around with it 24/7. If that is the case, then I recommend that you really try to like secure your stuff, because the last thing you want for this is to break, or even worse, have someone get like injured on it because they accidentally choke on it or something. Oh no. Here. There we go. The other side of my missing, or of my eye, like the yarn that's still hanging off, I'm just gonna pull through because I've already sewn it on. And then I'm gonna do that with my second eye as well. Okay, he's already looking so cute, and he doesn't even have legs, arms, or his cute little mouth yet. But next I'm gonna go ahead and do the feet. The feet I'm gonna do, yeah, like around about here. Mind you, like he's like gonna be sitting, so I'm gonna kind of place them this way so they can come out as he sits, maybe even down here actually. Honestly, just see what looks good. What looks good on me. Like I'm not gonna tell you a specific row because that might not look the best for you. So just kind of like try it out, hold it on, and then yeah, see where you want to put your foot. So I think I'm gonna go for right around down here. Okay, so here's my first foot, or my first leg, I should probably say. Next is my second leg. And like, they don't even need to be symmetrical, because if they're not, you can always, I don't know, make him or have him have his legs crossed or like something cute like that. I think because he's gonna be like floating and just chilling in air, you can literally like, I don't know, cross his legs over on top of each other, have him be seated like cross-legged. How cute is that? Like, I think just because he has 2 legs doesn't mean they need to be hanging down. There are so many options. Okay, and then the last thing I'm gonna sew on before I make the swing is just the top of my arms, because I'm gonna have the arms kind of like wrap around the swing. So I'm gonna take my chain that I made for the arm, and place that like kind of like back here, just because like I want him to hold his swing, and when you're holding a swing your arm kind of goes to the back. If you're not making a swing, then just put the arms wherever looks good, but with that in mind, I'm gonna place mine a little bit further back than I probably normally would. So here's my second arm. And now Mr. Froggy already has 2 arms. I'm gonna leave these just because then I'll sew it like for him to hold his swing. The next thing I'm gonna do is sew the mouth real quick so that the frog is done, that I just need to make the swing. Okay, so for the mouth I'm gonna use my other color yarn. For me, I'm just gonna do the same color for the mouth and for the swing. If you're using 2 different colors, then pick out your mouth color now. And then all I need is like a little bit. I really don't need much for this part. Cut that first because the mouth is sewn on, not crocheted on. Thread that through. Okay, so now with this, I'm gonna come from the back and try to get right the center, kind of at the top here. It's sometimes a bit hard because that's like where your stitches kind of fall. Yeah, perfect. So do you see how like my needle comes out right at the center of my 2 eyes, and like this is where I want the mouth bottom to be. So pull that through. Okay. Now I'm gonna do a diagonal line up this way and a diagonal line up this way. So to do that, go in here and then come out where you want your other side to be at the top, and then go back through the bottom, back to the back of the frog. Oh, adorable, he has a mouth. Maybe you want it to go a little bit wider. That can easily be like pulled apart a little bit. Oh, and he's so cute already, now he's smiling. I'll try to go through the same hole as before. So I just missed it by 1 stitch here. There we go. And then take my needle out and tie a knot at the back. And once you tie that knot like pretty tight, you should be able to cut your strings off close and then push the knot through so it just sits on the inside. Oh, look at him, he's so happy already. He's so cute. Okay, now let's get this little guy a nice swing that he could like chill on and just swing on all day long. Oh, he has a friend. So to make the swing, I'm not gonna give you like a certain number of chains. I'm just gonna, make a random number of chains and then see like how long I want it. If you need the swing to be longer, make more. If you want it shorter, make less. This is where you can kind of, adjust it to your own like needs or liking. So I'm gonna make mine like a middle length, probably a little bit shorter than the one I have sitting here, so they can still like hang on the same thing and then kind of like hang on top of each other. That sounds very cute to me right now. This swing is literally just a chain. Let's see how far I am. Nah, I want a little bit more than that. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at this for now. Cut my yarn, fasten it off by pulling it through the loop. Okay, and then you can just tie the top ends together. Here we go. I mean, if you need to put it around something before you tie it together, then obviously don't tie it. But for me, I'm gonna tie these together. Okay, so now I have my little swing that my frog's gonna be on. And I have my little frog. Now putting him on the swing, I'm actually gonna put him where the knot is, and I'll use like these strings to tie it. I'm gonna try to balance him out nicely. And I'm gonna sew him onto the swing here at the bottom. So I'll try to go kind of through the middle of him at the bottom now. I'm gonna make the swing go like behind his eyes, and I'm gonna wrap, or maybe next to his eyes, and then I'm gonna wrap the arms around it. So I'm gonna thread the arm now. Okay, so here's my first arm as he's holding onto his swing. Same thing with the other arm. And now, as you can see, he is tumbling down already, which is not what we want, but he's just secured in one spot now, right? So I'm gonna actually go in here and here to secure him a little bit here, and then he's not gonna go anywhere. But he is swinging well. I mean, eye angle is like here. Obviously the camera is on top, but he's looking good. I'm so happy with him. So now I'm gonna pull these through, put one more knot on top just for security, and pull those through him so that doesn't come undone. Perfect. So now he's on his cute little swing. Like I said, if you want, you could like, I don't know, maybe even like make him sit or cross his legs in certain ways. He's like chilling hard now, look at that. But yeah, hopefully this was a tutorial that you enjoyed. Let me know how your Froggy's doing on his swing. I think these are adorable, and like what a great gift also this would be. You can put it like in your car or just hang it like off a door or something in a kid's room. I love these. I think these are so cute. And how cute are two of them together? It's like they found each other. Oh, adorable. All right, well, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.